What is one of the most foundational aspects of discipleship that many believers miss entirely? I believe it is the topic of lordship and obedience. What does the word Lord mean? Lord means master, sovereign, ruler, and in the Bible it also means God. And Jesus is Lord, meaning He's all of these things. In other words, Jesus calls the shots in our own lives and also in the whole universe. Jesus is Lord. And so as those who want to follow Jesus, we need to recognize Jesus' lordship, especially in our lives. I once heard a preacher say something along the lines of this, that if Jesus is not Lord of all, He is not Lord at all. Now, of course, our spiritual journey is a process and we're always learning how to trust Jesus and submit to Him more and more. But we do need to recognize this, that Jesus is Lord and He's Lord over our lives. And we need to strive to submit to that lordship, which we primarily do through trust and obedience. I want to talk for a moment about the narrow door, and I want to read a passage from Luke 13, verse 22 to 27. It says this, "Then Jesus went through the towns and villages, teaching as He made His way to Jerusalem. Someone asked Him, 'Lord, are there only a few people going to be saved?' He said to them, 'Make every effort to enter through the narrow door. Because many, I tell you, will try to enter and will not be able to. Once the owner of the house gets up and closes the door, you will stand outside knocking and pleading, 'Sir, open the door for us.' But he will answer, 'I don't know you or where you come from.' Then you will say, 'We ate and drank with you, and you taught in the streets.' But he will reply, 'I don't know you or where you come from. Away from me, all you evildoers.'" So, what is the meaning of this passage? And how do we get through the narrow door? And how is it that some people can go through their whole lives thinking that they know Jesus, only to find out in the end that Jesus never knew them? Well, the secret here is our understanding of discipleship and understanding that Jesus is Lord. And if we want to know Jesus and we want Him to know us, we need to obey Him. We need to follow His teachings and not just hear them and listen to them, but put them into practice and actually act on them. Jesus said in Luke 6, verse 46, "Why do you call me Lord, Lord, and do not do what I say?" So listen to this. Jesus, He is Lord. And if we want to follow Him, we need to recognize that. But in order to recognize Jesus as Lord, we need to do what He says. If we don't do what He says, then He's not actually Lord of anything. And so if we want to know Jesus and be known by Him, we have to follow Him. We have to obey Him and especially believe in Him. Now I want to talk about lordship and relationships. The main thing I want to just kind of briefly touch on here is that lordship affects every area of our lives, especially our relationships. When we recognize Jesus as Lord, everything we do is filtered through that understanding of His lordship. So whenever you talk to someone or engage with someone, you don't just do what you feel like doing. You don't just say what you feel like saying, but you stop and you say, what would honor Jesus here? And so, of course, when it comes to relationships, we're not going to cheat people. We're not going to lie to them. We're not going to wrong them. We're not going to associate with those who do evil. And we're going to really make sure that our relationships in every aspect of our lives honors Jesus. 2 Corinthians 6:14 says, "Do not be yoked together with unbelievers. For what do righteousness and wickedness have in common? Or what fellowship can light have with darkness?" So this touches on how if we are submitted to Jesus' lordship, then we're not going to associate with those who do evil. Or in other words, we're not going to do evil with them. We may engage with unbelievers with the goal of reaching them for Christ, but we're not going to do evil with them. And that can take form in a lot of different ways. And so I want to end this session with a simple question. Can you pass the lordship test? Can you pass the test? In other words, although we're not perfect, and obviously you're not perfect, does your life reflect a submission to Jesus' lordship? Are you obeying him? When you hear his teachings, do you act on them in faith, or do you just consider it an insightful or inspirational teaching? And so I want to encourage you today to reflect a little bit and ask yourself, are you submitted to Jesus' lordship? And does your faith, does your walk pass the test?